Partner? Dahlia was stunned when she heard the word. Or rather, she could hardly believe it. Because what the other party said wasn't about some preliminary shortlist. He had directly named her as the Harmon family's partner. They'd even skipped the final evaluation. What the hell was going on? You're serious? Dahlia asked cautiously. Would I lie to you? If you don't believe me, come to the company tomorrow and sign the contract in person. That's all, I've got things to do, talk later. After a few quick words, the caller hung up. Dahlia stood there, stunned and overjoyed. She hadn't expected things to go so smoothly. She was about to be disqualified from the shortlist, and suddenly, she became the Harmon family's official partner. Happiness had come too suddenly. Of course, the real reason for her success was probably due to Chris Nolan's phone call. She just hadn't expected the Nolan family to wield that much influence. A single call was enough to change the Harmon family's decision. This was truly a stroke of luck. Ms. Dahlia, how did it go? Any news? Lyra asked tentatively. Yes. Dahlia nodded, smiling in a rare moment of joy. The CEO of the Harmon Group called me personally. I've been officially selected as their partner. The moment she said it, Lyra practically jumped with joy. That's amazing! I knew everything would work out, all thanks to Chris's help. If it weren't for him, it wouldn't have been so easy, Dahlia said with a nod of gratitude. Absolutely. Chris is amazing. Just a few words from him, and it's all settled, Lyra said, full of praise. Oh, it's not me, it's all thanks to my dad, Chris said modestly, but no amount of modesty could hide the smugness on his face. In fact, even he found it a little odd. Since when was his dad this efficient? Dustin! Did you see that? This is what real power looks like! Lyra suddenly turned to look behind them, her tone dripping with mockery. Chris barely lifted a finger, and the partner deal was locked in. And you? What do you bring to the table? Come on, give him some credit. Chris chuckled. He's good at freeloading, at least. Ha! What else can he do besides mooch off women? If he had even an ounce of ability, he wouldn't be living like this. Seeing Dustin remain silent, Lyra got even more arrogant. Too bad that seductress isn't here. Otherwise, I'd love to show her just how pathetic the man she chose really is. Are you done? Dustin said calmly. If so, step aside. You're blocking the show. What? Can't even handle a few words now? If you had half of Chris's talent, would anyone be saying this to you? Lyra sneered. You're just a waste. Oh? Dustin's gaze turned cold. Then tell me, what exactly is Chris so good at? He didn't usually mind insults. But that didn't mean he would let anyone trample on his dignity. Even a clay Buddha can burn with rage, let alone him. Chris made one call and sealed the partnership with the Harmon family. Isn't that proof enough? Lyra said proudly. How do you know it was him? Do you have any proof? Dustin countered. If not him, who else could it be? You! Lyra scoffed. Look at you. Do you even look like someone with any influence? Hey, Dustin! If it wasn't for me, what makes you think the Harmon family would suddenly change their mind? Chris said with a smug grin. Exactly. It's already obvious. Why are you still denying it? Lyra added. You shouldn't be so sure. If I were you, I'd double-check first, just to avoid kissing up to the wrong person. Dustin said coldly. You're just jealous. You can't stand someone else being better than you. Lyra snapped. Interpret it however you want. Dustin said indifferently. Oh, you want proof? Fine. I'll make sure you admit defeat today. Chris sneered and pulled out his phone to call his father again. Hello, Dad. What now? Came an impatient voice on the other end. Nothing, I just wanted to ask how your talk with Mr. Harmon went. Talk my ass. I'm in a meeting. Do you think I've got time to run errands for you? And listen, don't bother me with this crap again. Chris froze. A moment later, the call ended with a beep. His smug smile vanished instantly. He'd been ready to boast, but this outcome was unexpected. If it wasn't his dad who pulled the strings, then who was it? Could it really have been just a coincidence? So, Chris, Dustin leaned forward with a half smile. What did your dad say? Mind sharing with the group? He'd been sitting right behind Chris. He heard everything. Not that it mattered, the look on Chris's face already gave it away. Come on, young Master Chris! Tell him! Show this guy the difference between the two of you! Lyra urged. Chris's eye twitched. He forced a smile. There's not much to say. My dad already admitted it was him who spoke to the Harmons. Without his help, Dahlia wouldn't have stood a chance. Dustin frowned. He hadn't expected Chris to be this shameless, to lie through his teeth like it was nothing. And with such confidence, too. You heard that, Dustin? He said it clearly. It was thanks to the Nolan family. What more do you want? Lyra barked. And what if I said Chris is lying? Dustin said suddenly. That's enough, Dustin! Dahlia finally snapped. Why do you always have to argue and stir up trouble? Can't you just let things go? I know you're jealous of Chris, but can't you just admit that someone else might actually be better than you? She stood up, face flushed with anger, like she couldn't believe how far he was going. She hadn't wanted to argue, but seeing Dustin so stubborn and petty, constantly smearing others, she couldn't take it anymore. Jealous? Smearing? Dustin paused, a little dazed. So in your eyes, I'm really just a petty, bitter man? Look at the way you're acting. Aren't you proving it? Dahlia shot back. One sentence, and Dustin was left speechless. Dustin never expected that. In Dahlia's heart, there wasn't even a shred of trust left for him. 3 years of marriage? Was he really worth less than a stranger? Yeah. I'm the villain. Nolan is the gentleman. I slandered him. Happy now? Dustin sneered at himself. Once trust is gone, no amount of explanation can bring it back. What kind of attitude is that? Are you saying I wrongly accused you? Dahlia frowned. You didn't wrongly accuse me. I was just being a jerk. I deserved it. Dustin said coldly. You're really hopeless. Dahlia snapped. She hadn't expected Dustin to be this kind of person. Out of jealousy, he actually tried to slander someone, and still showed no remorse. Had he completely shed his mask after the divorce? All right, Dahlia, don't be too angry. Nolan chimed in with a saintly tone. Dustin probably feels threatened seeing me close to you. I don't blame him. Everyone makes mistakes. Look at Nolan, repaying hatred with kindness. That's the difference between you two. Dahlia said, disappointment all over her face. If that's what you really think, then I have nothing more to say. Dustin said with a cold expression. Humph. You're just guilty because you have something to hide. Lyra said with disdain. People like you are useless and still like to act tough. It's disgusting. Think what you want. Dustin replied indifferently and stood up to leave. Just then, a young man with curly hair walked in from the entrance. He wore sunglasses, a cigar in his mouth, and swaggered like a thug. Well now! Looks like it's lively in here. Edward Spanner grinned, his eyes sweeping the room. But when his gaze landed on Dahlia, he froze. His eyes practically blazed with heat. Well. I must be lucky tonight. Another top-tier beauty appears. Edward licked his lips and walked straight up to Dahlia. Hey gorgeous, you look kinda familiar. Have we met somewhere before? He asked with a grin. Dahlia gave him a cold glance and couldn't be bothered to reply. Fate brought us together. Why don't we grab a drink or two? Edward invited. Not interested. Dahlia rejected instantly. Interest can be bought. Edward smirked, rubbing his chin. Tell you what, let's cut to the chase. Spend the night with me, and you can name your price. Get lost. Dahlia snapped. Oh ho? Fiery, huh? I like that. Edward laughed even more excitedly and reached out to touch her. Smack. Already in a bad mood, Dahlia slapped him across the face. The mark of her hand was crystal clear. You dare hitting me? Edward clutched his stinging cheek, his expression turning dark. So what if I did? You have no manners, Dahlia said coldly. You bitch. You want to do this the hard way? Edward roared, raising his hand. Before he could strike, Nolan shoved him aside. Bastard! Trying to act tough here? You've got a death wish! Nolan shouted, eyes blazing, harassing his woman right in front of him. He wasn't having it. Kid, I suggest you stay out of this, unless you want to face the consequences. Edward growled. Oh? You trying to scare me? Come on then, I'd love to see what you've got. Nolan taunted, waving him over. You're dead. Without another word, Edward threw a punch, but Nolan dodged easily and countered with a heavy punch straight to Edward's face. Edward stumbled back, blood gushing from his nose. "You want to throw hands? I've trained for this." Nolan smirked. "You're amazing, Mr. Nolan. Scumbags like him deserve a beating." Lyra praised with sparkling eyes. "That's right. Well done." Some guests watching the drama clapped along. Nolan's vanity was completely satisfied. Finally, he got his chance to play the hero. What a thrill. "Kid, do you even know who I am? You actually dared to hit me?" Edward snarled, grinding his teeth. "I don't care who the hell you are. If you don't want to die, get lost!" Nolan shouted, full of bravado. "Fine. You've got guts. Just wait, you better not run." Edward spat and stormed off. "Humph! Trying to act tough in front of me? Know your place." Nolan sneered. "Mr. Nolan, I didn't know you were so amazing. One punch and that punk was down." Lyra beamed. "Ha! Guys like that? I could take on 10 of them," Nolan said proudly. "All that training in kickboxing finally came in handy. Thanks to you stepping in, Mr. Nolan, or we'd have been in real trouble." "No big deal. If you run into trouble again, just call me. I'll keep you all safe," Nolan said, puffing out his chest. He finally had a moment to shine. There was no way he'd let it slip by. "President Dahlia, see that? That's what a real man looks like." Lyra shot a glance at Dustin, then sneered. "Not like some people, frozen in fear like a coward, didn't say a word the whole time. Absolutely pathetic." Dahlia didn't reply, just looked even more disappointed. When danger struck just now, Dustin had stood by and done absolutely nothing. They used to be married, shouldn't that mean something? Even if they were strangers, any decent person would have helped, right? She never noticed it before, but now she saw it clearly. Dustin was a spineless loser. Compared to Nolan, the gap wasn't just a little, it was a canyon. "Quick! Surround the place!" Suddenly, chaos erupted. Edward Spanner had returned, this time, storming in with a vengeance. "What, didn't get enough of a beating last time? Want another round?" Nolan stepped forward, puffed up like a lone hero. But the moment he saw the group of burly bodyguards behind Edward, the smirk on his face froze solid.
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care. Now they're echoes in the air. I still see